There's some other people that think that maybe it has something to do with Laura Stanko's husband, and that he's just trying to make sure that Shavkat stays out the DMs. But that theory falls apart quickly because Stanko's husband already knows that they don't even got Wi-Fi in Kazakhstan. Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Jesse and I'm the founder and grandmaster of MMA, Mexican martial arts. What's up, Kaimon? And today I want to talk about Shavkat Rakhmonov getting removed from the UFC rankings, or as I affectionately refer to them, the UFC prankings. Because as we already know, and we've been told by Dana White himself, that the UFC rankings don't mean anything. I mean, when they actually come up at the press conferences, Dana White chuckles. It's a laughable concept to him. And Dana White doesn't even respect the people that come up with the rankings. These are the people that he's always mad at, that he's always saying know nothing about the sport. And he's giving them the next question and tell them, ask me again on Tuesday, even though they're not going to have any access to him on Tuesday. Anyway, we already know that this is something that doesn't matter. It's something that we shouldn't care about, something we shouldn't talk about, something I definitely shouldn't be making a video about. But you're probably tired of hearing me gloat about Gaethje and Volkanovski, so I had to move on with my life. The UFC rankings is something that's there. It's like this cute little thing for us to look at and talk about whenever we have these lows in between the action. The UFC rankings are kind of like when you're in a relationship. You know those couples that they always got to be like overcompensating, and they always post photos of them and their significant other like in a field in their Sunday best, like holding hands and stuff like that, and like they got the matching clothes from JCPenney and stuff like that. That's like what the UFC rankings is. It's supposed to be like that over the top outward expression. The UFC rankings is like when you get baptized. You know, it's not a necessity to solidify your faith. It's more of like an outward expression, unless you believe in the sacraments, in baptism as a sacrament, which that's neither here either. I'll make another video about that later. It doesn't mean that you're actually next in line. I mean, how often do we see, rank number 5, rank number 6 getting the title shots above 1 through 4? And the rankings really are like those photos that the couples put on social media. It's all about engagement, clicks, the chatter in between the main events to keep the people busy. And, just as much as it's a significant thing when you put someone on the rankings, like, oh, this dude's doing good. Oh, look, he's climbing up that ladder. Oh, look, he might be next in line. The same thing, the opposite way around. When you take somebody out, it's significant because you left them on the roster. You didn't fire him. You didn't remove him from the UFC. You just took him out the rankings. So just as much as it's like those couples that are trying to show their undying love and affection and their desperation for dopamine hits with the engagement and the clicks, when they post that stuff, it goes on the opposite side of the spectrum when you take them out the rankings. That move is like when you get caught slipping and your lady sees that you were liking photos of all the thirst traps when you were scrolling. It's two different ends of the spectrum. And by the way, what kind of idiot likes the videos? What kind of idiot likes the photos, the carousels? You're moving out there like the Zodiac killer. It's like you're trying to get caught. So you got to consider Shavkat was not fired. He was not removed from the UFC roster, but he was strategically, specifically removed from the rankings. And that has some people out there wondering, wait a minute. We got some other individuals out there that not only would it make sense if they came out the rankings, but that they just got off the roster altogether. People like Ortega. Like how many times can you let not just the fans down, but the company down? How many times can you pull a Paulo Costa? That's another one, by the way. What about Michael Chandler? That dude has lost like the last 8 out of 10 fights. Tai Tuivasa has now lost 6 fights in a row. Who's he gonna fight next? Salt Papi? Forget about fighting. The dude ain't even disciplined enough to cut his fight camp. By the way, they don't even call it, for Tai Tuivasa, I don't know if you heard this, they don't refer to it as fight camp. They refer to it as fat camp. His whole camp is just trying to lose the weight. There's not even any fighting. There's no fight training whatsoever during his fight camp. It's not fight camp, it's fat camp. He has to spend all his time and resources just trying to get under the 260 limit? There's not even any time for fighting. That's the fight for him. You know how we talk about Conor McGregor? What's his next fight? Oh, he's fighting his charges. He's fighting allegations. He's fighting his demons. Taito Ivasa, his fight is just losing the weight. It's not as funny. It's not as funny as Conor's, but it's factual. And I'm a Tuivasa fan. And that's why I'm so worked up about it, because he keeps letting me down. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a tapeworm. He probably got some bacteria from all them chanclas from doing all the shoeies. He can't stop eating. And Michael Venom Page, something I thought was fascinating that I saw today. Maybe you could, I don't know if you want to go take a look and see if they've changed it, because it looks ridiculous. I can't believe they did this. If you go and look at the rankings right now, the rankings, on the UFC, you will see that Michael Venom Page is in the spot of number 15. Shavkat coming out left such a gap in the rank. It was so unnecessary. It's so unsaturated. And I know it seems saturated at the top of that division right now, but I'm talking about 1 through 15. It's so not saturated that they went out of their way to take Shavkat out. And the dude in the place right now, not quite number 15, but just simply in the place. And you'll see why I'm saying this for a reason right now. In the place of number 15, Michael Venom Page. And right next to his name, it says NR. Not rated. Not ranked. I said not ranked. In case you're not following along, they went out of their way to take out Shavkat and filled it with another dude and then had to specify next to his name. This dude ain't even ranked. But we're just gonna put a name here because it'll just look stupid if we don't put 15 names right here. It'll look uneven. So we'll put a dude here. He ain't even ranked, but we're going to take out a ranked undefeated dude. I was also going to mention Ilia Tapuera. And what about that fool? They're just going to let him hold on to the belt forever? But I'm sure you've heard there's been some developments with that. So probably right after this video, I'm going to make a video about that. And apparently, Tapuera is back. And then I thought it would make sense to mention Tomas Aspinall. The Stevie Wonder of the heavyweight division. And I'm not going to get into, was the poke as bad as he was acting like? Is he faking it? Is he the heavyweight division's Andy Kaufman? And we got to respect his dedication to committing to the bit and actually partaking in like double surgeries just so that he won't expose us. I'm not going to get into all that right now. Let's just assume that it's real. Let's assume that Tomas Aspinall cannot see. Isn't that far more worse? Like a blind fighter, unless you're watching like an old kung fu movie. If we're talking about a blind fighter, isn't that worse than a dude just with like a hurt leg or like a hurt arm? If you can't see, you can't do anything. Dudes could fight with injured limbs, right? I mean, in case you guys forgot, Alexander, 37-year-old, old man, over the hill, AARP retirement village, man, Alexander Volkanovski just defeated the young buck, the young dude with cannons for fists, right? He just defeated him, and Alexander Volkanovski had a shoulder injury. So, I mean, I guess dudes could fight with hurt arms, hurt legs. So if we're taking Shavkat out the rankings because they saw footage of him with the crutches and with the leg brace, how come they're not taking, not only are they not taking Tomas Aspinall out the rankings, they're not even taking the bout. At least Shavkat isn't holding up a whole division with the bout, but Tomas Aspinall, they're letting this dude hold on to it? People can fight with a hurt arm, a hurt leg, 'tis but a flesh wound. Haven't you seen Nick Newell? I saw a fight of him when he was fighting with Dustin Gaethje, in case you don't recognize the name. He's the dude that has one arm, or like 1.5. I don't know. I don't want to be insensitive. He has at least 1.5. And then what about Zion Clark? Dude has no legs. So we're going to take Shavkat out the rankings because he has crutches and a leg brace. But you got Nick Newell out here swinging with 1.5 arms. You got Zion Clark out here with no legs. And in the background, that he's had the health scare that Dana White himself had a few years ago. You would think that he would see them doing Shavkat wrong like this, that they see him on the outs right now. They see him injured with the crutches, the leg brace. He's limping. You would think Dana White would have some compassion. It wasn't. It was like in 2022 when Dana White went and had all his blood work and everything done, and they told him, it was I forgot what it's called. It wasn't even a doctor. It was like a biologist or something like that. And Dana find out that he only had about a month to live. I'm Dana White for a moment. That dude almost died. He was terrified. He lost like 30 pounds. He fixed his sleep apnea. He got a six-pack. His testosterone skyrocketed. His testosterone went so through the roof after that. That was the era where he ended up smacking up his wife on live national internet. And I do realize that smacking up your wife on live national internet is in and out of itself a negative thing. But it's indicative of fantastic levels of testosterone. I say all of this to say that Dana White should be able to relate. He was there himself in a physical dilemma. And now that he's on the other side of it and he's an able-bodied individual, y'all must have forgot. So I don't know if he's trying to blame it on Hunter Campbell or what, but I'll say it, Dana White, at least in this situation, your silence is violence. Even if it wasn't you pulling the trigger, you could have said something. You could have intervened. And basically, by default, what you did here was you ensured that the best thing to ever come out of Kazakhstan is Borat. Now that I think of it, even if Shavkat did become champion, the best thing to come out of Kazakhstan would probably still be Borat. Some people are thinking that this might have something to do with Ian Gary and that Dana White's like, wait a minute, we lost Tomas Aspinall. Nobody likes that fool anymore. He became a laughingstock. Oh, we lost Paddy Pimblett. We rushed that fool and we ruined his career. We need Ian Gary. We need to push this dude to the forefront. And then Ian Gary's coming out and he's like, oh yeah, I'm the one that hurt Shavkat. So not only would he be able to get pushed up by default, but he gets to feel like he has something to do with Shavkat's injury. But then he forgot that people remember that Shavkat was already hurt when he fought Ian Gary. And plus, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit the narrative about Ian Gary, you know, being all like European and stuff like that and feeling that market demographic, because people forget that after Ian Gary got married, he converted to become a Brazilian. There's some other people that think that maybe it has something to do with Laura Stanko's husband and that he's just trying to make sure that Shavkat stays out the DMs. But that theory falls apart quickly because Stanko's husband already knows that they don't even got Wi-Fi in Kazakhstan. And if you follow the trail and do more homework, you'll realize that Stanko's husband has been beefing with the UFC and butting heads for quite a while. So I don't think the UFC would care to do anything in his best interest. Stanko's husband is not a fan of the UFC. Matter of fact, he's been trying to get Stanko, forget Shavkat. Stanko's husband has been trying to get Laura away from DC for years. I think one of the most probable theories for this is the clutch, the grasp. And I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's Ali or if it's Ramzan Kadyrov living vivaciously through Ali Abdelaziz. I don't know if they got dirt. I don't know if the Furtado brothers, I don't know if they're in the Epstein files. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like Ali always finds one way or another to weasel his way into things and get what he wants. And maybe some people are thinking that this has something to do with Ali pushing to get Usman to get that title shot. It's one of the great matchups that people always think, what if? What would have happened with Khabib Nurmagomedov and GSP? And some people, I know it's kind of like the Temu version or whatever, but some people are saying that maybe the closest thing we'll ever get is Makhachev and Usman. It's kind of like the low-budget doppelganger, you know what I'm saying? And taking Shavkat out the rankings makes that possible. Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about, what about Gary and Prates and Morales? Like, there's other dudes up there. But when I look through the rankings, there's stuff that could eliminate all of these individuals. So obviously the champion is Makhachev. And ranked number 1 is Jack Della Macarena, which he just lost. It's not going to be him. And then we got Gary, which lost to the dude they just took out the rankings. Machado lost to Shavkat. And then we got Michael Morales, which I don't think that I've talked about this before. I don't think Makhachev is going to agree to lay hands on Morales because that would be haram, as you all know. And then we got Belal, who lost to the dude that Makhachev just beat, and then he lost to somebody else. And then they're probably not going to want to fight Makhachev. Well, honestly, Makhachev probably just bulldoze through anybody and not really care. But Muhammad will be like, no, we're brothers. We can't fight just to save some face, you know? And then we got Prates, who lost to one of the dudes that I already met, that already lost to Gary, and Gary already lost to Shavkat. And then we got Sean Brady, which, let's not talk about him right now. And then we got Usman already. So, like, everybody, it makes Usman, it's the GSP factor. It's the you know, was he the greatest welterweight of all time factor? Because what's going on right now is a lot of people believe, I'm not saying it's true, I'm not saying I believe it, but I'm saying a lot of people believe that Usman was the greatest welterweight of all time. But now we're in this weird era where people believe it's easy to say Makhachev, the current champ, is the greatest welterweight of all time. So this is one of those rare opportunities we're going to get to see the greatest and the greatest without like a 20-year gap in between, where there actually could be a dream matchup. Think about it. When you look at all the other divisions right now in the rankings and the losing skids and the people just being unmotivated, people having a hard time making weight, people pulling out of fights, people losing fights, it makes no logical sense whatsoever that they would take Shavkat. I mean, again, if they just fired him, that would be easier to wrap my beanie around, if they just fired him and removed him from the roster. But the fact that they simply removed him from the rankings, that is sketchy. And there's no possible reason why they would do that other than to elevate Usman. Case closed.